So I found out that Arc Raiders is fucking blowing up on the internet. And I said, well, I got money. I can get the game. Fuck it. Let's do that. I fucking bought it. And the result was, well, quite unbelievable. And let's take a closer look of what it is, Arc Raiders. Films. My first ever thought after buying Arc Raiders was something similar to watching A Day in the Death of Donnie B. And if you really think about it, what in the hell this footage has to do with the game? In a strange way, comparing this movie, the whole atmosphere of it reminds me of like hiding from someone while playing the game. I don't know how to explain, but it felt really horrifying and tense at the same time. The first moment when I saw someone in the game, it was like, I just stopped, I freezed. I freeze in time, I was watching the guy. I really didn't have a clue what to do at that moment, I just froze. I was looking at the guy, he was looting someone in a dead body or something. And then I decided just to do nothing, I just stood there. And I took the time to appreciate how the developers pulled that out in a game like this. And then it hit me.
The Cinema Club.
Yeah, cinema has a way of making this feel small. And I realized Arc Raiders is doing something similar, which also uses silence to make you listen and notice every detail, every footstep. And considering every technique that the developers used to pull this game off, I just can't appreciate enough what the developers have in hand. And one more thing that really amazed me is the way they pull the color grading set, in a way shaping the visual storytelling in the game. And let's not forget about something really important, the lighting, but also the core vision of the game. The core vision of the game is something similar to George Lucas while doing the Star Wars movies. As you can see, the scale, the lighting, the atmosphere. And that is one of the main reasons why Embark Studios took over 6 years to make this game. Just as much George Lucas with Star Wars movies, while having this big ambition to make the movies, but didn't have the right studio to make them. And at that time, Embark Studio was found by many developers from previous Battlefield games, like for example the CEO of DICE, and many more audio and art developers from other games. And then you look at the Embark Studios and you see the team built off the same kind of obsession. Just as George Lucas did with his team. And by now, you should know that the lighting and the sound are kind of the backbone of the story. But more about the sound later on. And Embark Studio really did a great job making sure the lighting doesn't feel artificial. And let's not forget why lighting is so important. Because in some technical way, the lighting adds some texture and depth to the whole map. And especially at night, the whole vibe changes. You're in a way quietly introduced to a horror movie at this time. If you think you're in a game, you're wrong. And if you don't trust me, just watch this. As I told you, the whole atmosphere shifts. And you can see by watching this, you can feel the world feeling small. And every step carries this strange sense of anticipation, and that's the atmosphere Embark Studios clearly wanted to create. Sound. I think when the sound design is done right, it can make a really big difference on how you perceive the game. And I think on top of that, because the sound itself is just one of the pinnacles of the game. And I think the sound design in every game is really something underrated. And unfortunately, in most cases, which most of the bigger developers choose to spend most of the budget on the visual parts, and sometimes totally ignoring the sound design. And for that, I think the reason is simple. The big companies, they know exactly how to sell the game, because it's much easier to sell the game through a TV than selling the sound. In which I think the sound, you really need a specific condition to really get the full experience of it, and in a way leaving the experience untapped or halfway through. And yes, I really think in a way that the sound doesn't just support the story, it is the story. And here are the 3 examples of why the sound design shouldn't be overrated. As you just saw, these games prove one thing. When you stop to listen each game, you can understand why the sound isn't just a layer. And the moment the big companies invest in the sound part, you can clearly see the difference. Why some games have pushed the boundary of what gaming experience could be, and just like Embark Studios, decided to take it further. What you just saw was Embark Studios recording the audio for the guns. Let's say these guys are the master of the sounds, because they really care about detail, as if they treat the audio as the main character, and because of that, every little detail sounds rich. And I hopefully think in the future, much more studios try to follow the same steps, and no matter how much time they will take or money, is clearly that the sound isn't just a decoration. Because in the end of the day, if a company makes a good product, they will sell more. And by doing this, while the studios spend more time on the audio, they are not just improving the game, they're investing in player satisfaction, the retention, and the long-term success of the game. And that's why I think the sound shouldn't be put to the side. At the end of the day, it's not just graphics or sound, it's how Embark Studios work to make a world feel alive. And this is what happens when you have a team that worked on the previous Battlefield games join together and create a world that is massive just like our creators. And all of this due to the previous experience the founders of Embark Studios had while working on mostly Battlefield games. And if you got something out of today's video, and you can leave a like, drop a comment or share it, because I want other people to find this video and show them and learn something new.